unmanly about Disney, all right? And y'all heard that. Welcome in to another edition of the War Room Podcast. Like I said last week, I'm sure you guys weren't expecting to see us anymore, but draft season may be over, but our podcasting careers are not. So we're going to keep rolling, have some fun. Schedule release came out the night we released our last podcast, so now we're back again because that was all we really wanted to talk about. That last podcast was the schedule release, all the top games, some juicy matchups, that is for sure. But I am, before we get started, just welcome in Ryan, Dom, Chaz, and Nicholas. Appreciate you guys all tuning in, joining us today. And how you guys feeling? I mean, I am super. If you can see, I'm super relaxed. I got back on from vacation the other day, like finally catching a break, being able to like get back to a little bit of normal life, not working those 80, 90-hour weeks grinding for the draft. So I finally got to hit that reset and that unwind button. Ryan, I know you're got a few weeks left with us, man, but how you doing? How you resting?
Good, man. It's nice, like you said, it's nice to get home from work, even though, draft time's fun. It's great to get home, sit down, and be like, what's on Netflix? Instead of, I got to get 5 or 6 reports done tonight.
Yeah, if we didn't procrastinate until the last minute, we wouldn't be in this problem, but we do it every year. We can't help it. Dom, how you been resting up, man? You recovered finally?
Yeah, I've been able to hit the gym a little more frequently, which is always a good thing. So
definitely needed. Chaz?
I'm doing good. Still overworked at the day job, but that's gonna be a thing until I start getting paid for this. But I'm not cutting on Netflix when I get home. I've been watching the NBA playoffs because that's the only real sports that I can like pay attention to. That and UFC. But my boy Jimmy Butler put in work last night, so that was a good time.
He put down 51. Is that what it was?
I think 41.
Yeah.
With like.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
It was nasty.
Yeah.
Tatum put on too, but once that third quarter hit, it was a wrap.
I didn't watch it, and then I get to work, and everybody's like, "Did you see that shit?" I was like, "Damn, I missed out." I finally got some sleep and caught up. But Nick, how you doing, man? I know you're preparing for grad school and getting ready and getting your ducks in order. Congrats on all of that. But you feeling refreshed? I mean, you're still kicking butt, pumping out content. I don't know if you've necessarily taken the same break that we all have.
No, I haven't really been taking the same break. I've been finishing up my my bachelor's degree. I'm graduating soon, which I'm hyped about, and then it's up to grad school. And I've been pumping out content, grading the draft, my live grade. I've gotten so far. I don't. This is filmed on the 18th, but as of now, I got up to round 6. Round 7 should be done probably tomorrow, up in a few days. But yeah, it's been crazy, but can't wait for the future.
Sir, we love to see it.
Yeah, you're gonna get thrown through you're gonna throw yourself through a Buffalo Bills Mafia table, right? That's what we're gonna see.
I don't know if I'm not filming. No, but
come on.
I can't do that.
I'll let you know this right now. If you tell us in the group chat or the Slack that you're going to that game, I will personally come to Buffalo, New York, and tailgate with you and convince you to jump through a table. You won't record it. I would.
Yeah, exactly. If you go to a Buffalo game, half the company might just show up. Who knows? But I took a little vacation out to Hot Springs, Arkansas. Just me and the dog, and went camping out in the middle of nowhere. It was nice, man. Hot Springs, Arkansas is like somewhere I didn't know about, but oh my god, it's freaking gorgeous. Like the town itself is built right in the dead center of the national park, and actual hot springs are flowing into downtown. So, like, literally right off the street, there's one of the hot springs. And then the brewery itself is fed water by the natural hot spring. And so it's pretty cool. So went and checked a bunch of those out. And, man, it's so nice to feel recovered, feel reset. And without further ado, though, I mean, we come here to talk sports. We come here to talk football. So NFL schedule release happened. Some juicy matchups. Maybe the juiciest one of them all might be week 1. I mean, it might be. There's a couple that I really like, but Buffalo at Rams, almost across the board, but I think Chaz just wanted to have a little, little difference. Little, the word I'm looking for is slipping my... Variety. Thank you. Variance. Call it what you will. Week 1, you got Buffalo at Los Angeles Rams. It's definitely the best matchup of the week. It's kicks off week 1, right? Or the season. So it's going to be the Thursday night game. Damn, I cannot wait. You got Josh Allen. I mean, he's got to be looking for blood after the way last year ended. Like, there's got to be such a bitter... Like, we were so close feeling for Buffalo. Oh, they have to be chomping at the bit. And then you have the defending champions at home. Like, getting there. Like, what? They're going to get the rings that night? Or is that how? Yeah. Did they get the rings that night? Yeah. Okay.
They have the ceremony and all that.
Ceremony.
In the stadium that they wanted, too.
Yeah. So it's going to be a big deal. Buffalo can go steal that thunder week 1. Floor's open, gentlemen. Like, what do you guys think could possibly happen in this game? How do you see it going, and why? What else makes it so juicy?
I mean, it's the Buffalo revenge tour, like you said, man. Like they're gonna come out swinging, and they're gonna be like, we're not just a prop for y'all to get y'all rings. Like, we're not here for that ceremony. We here to run this season. Y'all might be the champs now, but to quote Ric Flair, to be the man, you got to beat the man, and they're the man right now. So Buffalo's coming to beat them. They coming out hot.
I mean, on the flip side, LA, they're gonna look to prove like we're here to stay. Like, Josh Allen, everybody's talking about him right now. He's probably one of the MVP front runners to start the season. Buffalo's been crowned a Super Bowl contender. Like, they've been talked about more than the Rams are. So it's like they're like, hold on now, we did win the Super Bowl. You're coming to our house. Like Chaz says, you're going to have to beat us.
Yeah, I want to add something to it. I feel this matchup's going to be the best of the week because it's basically, in my opinion, the two most complete teams facing off against each other week 1. These two teams had the least amount of weaknesses entering free agency. And the fact that they're battling each other week 1 is just, it's going to be something to watch. And I'm glad this is a Thursday night game. I'm glad I get to watch. This is the opener. And I can't wait to see the excitement.
You guys think Von Miller jumps to the other sideline to get his ring and then hops back over?
I wonder how that's going to go. Honestly. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
And he's already got. I mean, it's not like Von Miller doesn't have a ring. He knows what it feels like. I'm sure he's gonna be in the locker room with his team getting ready, but who knows? And it's in. I mean, you got Josh Allen's whole family's gonna be there. I mean, his family is only like 4 hours from LA, so, and I know that because I'm from that same town. But that one's gonna be a barn burner. Rams took a little step back though. Especially on the offensive line, losing Andrew Whitworth, and Buffalo just got better at basically every position that they were weak. And so this is gonna be I think a game that kind of sets the trajectory for either team that wins it. It's gonna be the Kickstarter. It's gonna be the launching point. After that, I think it's gonna be they're gonna be rolling early in the season. And who knows? Winner of that game, maybe the Super Bowl champ, maybe heading to the Super Bowl. But any other games you guys think of? There's Vegas at Chargers. I say at LA, but LA Chargers. Tampa Bay at Dallas. I think that's weird. Bucks are starting off back-to-back years in Dallas. Like, could we get switch it up a little bit? I say that, but then half my family is Dallas fans, so I can't wait to be able to talk shit for 17 weeks after that. But I don't know. It's kind of the first few weeks. There's not a whole lot going on.
Yeah, I will. Can I also add Pittsburgh and Cincy as a game to watch as well? I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah, Ryan, you're gonna be there, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the plan right now. Trying to get tickets squared away. I mean, it'll be exciting. Hopefully, they fare a little better than last time I was at Paul Brown. Got blown out, heckled by fans the whole way back to my car. Not a good time. So, and it'll be like our preview of the new era. Whoever wins that week 1 job. So it'll be a nice little preview, I guess.
Ryan, who you got your money on? Mitch? Who is it?
Man, I think it's Mitch with a short leash, especially with opening at Cincinnati. Like that's a tough game to trust a rookie to go into, and you don't. If that game were to go sideways, you don't want to kill his confidence week 1.
Can any guys think who was the last quarterback to start week 1, like of their rookie year?
I think was it Trevor Lawrence?
I guess Trevor last year. Trevor did it last year.
And then Herbert did it 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Darnold, I know, did it when he came out.
So did Burrow.
Burrow did too.
Mm-hmm.
Pickett would definitely
chance.
He might be the first in the Steeler history, at least definitely in my lifetime, start week 1 though, because Ben didn't.
That Paul Brown gonna be rocking, man.
Yeah,
coming off the Super Bowl, like the first time ever hosting the Steelers week 1. That's a dangerous environment.
I will say, if Kenny comes out and plays well in preseason, those hometown fans are going to be clamoring for him, and I feel like that could put some pressure to start him.
Right.
And vice versa, if Mitch comes out and it looks like trash, then it's going to be all, But that's the thing is, like, I think it's easier to start Mitch and go to Kenny than it is to start with your rookie quarterback, your future.
And then go to Mitch.
And then go to Mitch. And then you're playing that flip-flop shit all season long like we've seen some coaches do, and it gets them fired when they do it. So
I just don't see Tomlin doing that. I really don't.
And you could ruin a young QB's career before it starts.
Yeah. I think they're going to have it's going to be a slow bleed.
Yeah, but I think he start, unless Mitch comes and tears it up. I think he's in there probably week 5, 6.
This is a question I wanted to ask you, Ryan. Do you think Mason Rudolph is not going to make it past the preseason? Do you think he's still on the roster? Because I thought about it. Like, out of the 3, Trubisky and Pickett are locked. And
I've seen some predictions saying that Mason, if he's a third guy, which he will be, him getting bounced out in that 7th round pick, that Ola Kudon, or however you say his name, being just the third guy on the roster.
Do they carry 3 quarterbacks, or would they practice squad him?
They probably practice squad him. Typically, I mean, it's always dependent on the situation for the Steelers. Like when Ben was going through his injury issues, when we had like Duck and Mason, they were flip-flopping between 2 and 3. But then, like with Ben last year, I mean, they only had 2 for most of the season.
Didn't Dobbs? I might be mistaken here. You know more than I do, but didn't Dobbs stick around with him for a year? Josh Dobbs.
He did, but he was in and off. He was on and off the active roster.
Man, I was so disappointed that rocket scientist didn't pan out.
I liked Dobbs a little bit coming out.
Dobbs had some flashes.
I loved him for what he was. I mean, I didn't think he was anything more than that, but I mean, I liked it. I was like hoping that he would become more, but yeah.
Everybody loved Josh Dobbs because he wasn't Mason Rudolph. I'm pretty sure.
I liked him more than Mason. I would trust him to win a game over Mason.
The only other game that I had marked down for this week was Denver at Seattle. Just because it's Monday Night Football. Russ is going back to Seattle week 1. That stadium's going to be rocking. I know the fans are going to give him a standing ovation because he didn't have any drama coming out. I mean, it was the rumors the first last year, and then this year he was kind of put to bed, but then he got traded. But Russ is a class act. Seattle will probably do right. We'll do right by him, having a tribute video. The fans will probably all give him a standing ovation. It's gonna be a nice moment, especially to start the season, and then Seattle can start their suck for Stroud or whatever it is.
I mean, I myself am scarred with Seattle, Denver due to Super Bowl 48 with the disappointment after that game. But yeah, I now that you say that, I was going to disagree with you, but I kind of agree with you now, and I definitely think they're going to play a tribute video for Russell Wilson because he didn't. I don't want to say he left on bad terms because we don't know what went on behind the scenes, but
I think the 12s could be chanting F. Pete Carroll before they boo Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Russell Wilson was always a class act. Yeah. It was his camp leaked the whole I want to be traded to these X amount of teams during the season last year, but also it was he never publicly slandered Seattle. It was more so just we've run our course here. And he never said anything bad. It was all just rumors. So it would be weird to me if the fans booed Russ.
Could happen. I don't know.
I don't see it happen in Seattle.
There's only one way to find out though, and that's when week 1 hits.
Yep. Week 2, we got the winner amongst the consensus is LAC at KC. Chargers going in to the Chiefs to see if the Chiefs are legit, to see where they stand in the AFC West. It's an intriguing matchup. Chaz did Tampa Bay at New Orleans, which was what I wanted to pick. But I was trying to not be a homer because I knew how much Tampa Bay was going to dominate my week 1 through 18 rankings. But that is a good one. You got Jameis trying to get his revenge on Tampa Bay because he didn't get to actually do it because he tore his ACL. He was beating the Bucs at halftime, and then the ACL happened, and then we still lost to Trevor Siemian. Don't remind me. So that's gonna be a good one. That's one that was supposed to happen. It should have happened already. Now it's gonna be Jameis versus Tampa Bay for real. I also did Minnesota at Philly. It's a Monday night game. I think after signing James Bradbury, Philly is just stacked, man. I mean, they are stacked everywhere but the quarterback position. It's still a question mark, but I believe in Jalen Hurts. I think he currently had the same record he had the same amount. He had the same record as Lamar Jackson for the same amount of starts or to start his career. So I think he's obviously on track. But again, you got to be able to throw the ball in the NFL, and he hasn't proven that he is the best thrower of the football. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. But, Dom, why is KC at home against LA the most intriguing matchup?
I mean, I think with the additions that the Chargers made in the offseason, they're going to challenge KC, and this is going to be that first test for them.
Yeah, I think you got Khalil Mack now chasing Patrick Mahomes. That's
Khalil Mack, we both chasing Mahomes, and you got J.C. Jackson and Derwin James in the defensive backfield roaming for interceptions.
Sante Samuel Jr. I mean, we got into this a little bit last week, but it is a super stacked team. I'm very, very intrigued. Again, it's gonna be up to Herbert putting it together for 4 quarters. Herbert, I think, coming into his own. I think if he comes into his own, obviously he's got all the talent in the world, but if he comes into his own as a quarterback, then it's going to be a team that you have to look out for. But with KC spreading the wealth, Ryan, do you think that, I don't know if KC's going to have it together early. I think if anything, KC puts it together late because there's so many new pieces. There isn't that one throw Tyreek Hill touchdown ability, I think they possibly lose this game, even in KC.
I could see it too. I mean, it's gonna, like you said, there's a lot of new pieces in that offense, so it's gonna take them some time to really click. I mean, you said they don't have that over the top Tyreek Hill guy. Mahomes gonna have to get used to throwing to your Juju, who's just catching balls across the middle and being reliable, but shorter passing game. I mean, he's still got Kelsey there, and then he's got Valdes-Scantling there as well. So he's got some pieces. I mean, he's got Sky Moore as well, who's a faster guy. He's no Tyreek Hill though. So it'll be interesting to see, to me, how different that passing game looks without Tyreek. I think that's going to be their first huge test against that. Like we said, that Chargers defense should be phenomenal this year.
Yeah, and those cornerbacks, that secondary matches up very, very well against those guys. Anything else? Week 3?
Down for week 3.
Week 3, we got Green Bay at Tampa Bay being the consensus winner. Best matchup of the week. We also have Cincy at New York Giants. Homer pick or Jets. Jets. Homer pick, but understandable. Can't say that I am not guilty of the same. And then we have Baltimore at New England for Chaz. Chaz, what's so special about Baltimore, New England? You just want to see Bill get beat at home? What is it?
Same. Baltimore and New England is probably the best rivalry in the AFC that's not in division. So I always enjoy Baltimore and New England games. Bill, he's yet to have, we need to see what New England's going to be this year. And I think that's going to be their first, litmus test to see, are they still going to be able to compete? This is going to be an important game for them in the wild card race, see if they can even be in the playoffs at the end of the season, as everybody just assumes the Bills going to take that division. But they need to, this is a very important game for the AFC playoff picture, and this is week 3. So don't get me wrong, Green Bay at Tampa Bay is going to be the best game of the week. But again, I was trying to get more variety when it wasn't extremely obvious, you know what I mean? And I think this is a big game for the AFC playoff picture in week 3. It's a great rivalry game. The games are always enjoyable. So that's why I threw them up there.
Dom, what do you think's going to happen between Green Bay and Tampa Bay? Again, both teams have changed it up a little bit, but you got Tom Brady, you got Aaron Rodgers. That's the end all be all. And Tom Brady in the last 2 years is 3-0 against Rodgers. Is that what it is? 2-0 against Rodgers, something like that. As a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, he's undefeated. Let's put it that way. And I think they've played each other at least twice, if not 3 times. So, is there anything going to change?
I think it's going to come down to Rodgers and his trust issues, either positive or negative, for the rookie receivers that he has now. You take Devontae Adams out of the equation. That was his security blanket, all-purpose guy. And now it's going to come down to the rookies that they drafted, But I think between Rodgers and Brady, both players are capable of putting their teams on their shoulders and making those plays to just go all out and win games. And I think it's going to be that.
Yeah, I love me some old NFC Central matchups. Back when it was Warren Sapp chasing Brett Favre. That's what it always reminds me of. Nick, I know you want to talk about it. Feel free. Cincinnati at the Jets. Do you think your team has a chance, or are you just excited to see where your team is? This kind of a pecking order game where you figure out where you're at, on what notch you are on the totem pole?
Honestly, there's a few reasons why I like this game. One, it's obvious because I'd love one of my teams to once again beat Chaz's team. That was fun last year. But 2, and this is the big reason why, I cannot wait to see a healthy Carl Lawson play. He never really got his opportunity, and imagine how well this Jets defense will be now that Carl Lawson is healthy, with the additions of Sauce Gardner at cornerback, with Jermaine Johnson on the other side. I'm just excited to see this fully. If we could beat the Bengals last year with the talent we had, I can't wait to see how this upgraded Jets defense and offense takes on the Bengals this upcoming year. And I would love for the Jets to win this game, and I'd love to see if all the pieces come together how they would be able to beat them again.
I just can't wait for Jamar to be the first person to score a touchdown on Sauce Gardner. It's gonna be so funny.
The opposite with Sauce Gardner picking off Joe Burrow for a pick six.
That's something that only happened one time in his career so far, and it's not gonna happen again against the Jets. I can tell you that much. I don't even know why this game is like a topic of conversation. It's like
because
I was gonna give him. I mean, we're not gonna talk a whole lot of Jets football.
Oh yeah, no.
I was just giving him the chance. You know, I think it's gonna be a revenge game.
You should have saved it for Jets Jacksonville later on, and I want to talk about that game.
Week 4, we got KC at Tampa Bay. That is the overall winner. We've got the Jets at Pittsburgh. We also have Buffalo at Baltimore. I think that's going to be a really good game. That one was a toss-up, and I think I even added that to my list in terms of honorable mentions. But KC at Tampa Bay, obviously, is a Super Bowl rematch of 2 years ago. It's just good to see. Like, you got Rojo now in KC. You've got just there's that. There isn't. It's not a rivalry, but it's just a really good matchup that you want to see in terms of the future, the now that is Patrick Mahomes, and the past/now that is Tom Brady. The GOAT versus the guy who could potentially surpass him one day. But I think it's going to be very, very hard to do. Dom, what's your take on KC and Tampa Bay? Do you think that, I know we've already talked about KC in terms of taking kind of a step back, trying to figure it out. Do you think that by week 4 they have it figured out and they're rolling on all cylinders like the Bucs will be?
Gosh, I'd like to think they would because of that brain trust between Bieniemy and Andy Reid. I think they'll make whatever adjustments they need to by that point. And it's going to be a good game regardless. It's going to be one of those where defenses might be out the window and it's just going to be who scores last wins.
Tell you what won't happen. Tyreek Hill putting up 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. That's not going to happen.
It's going to be Scott Moore, who was Dom's wide receiver 3, I think.
Easy. Carlton Davis going to lock that down. No issues whatsoever. But I think it's going to be good. I think Brady's going to carve him up. That's what I think.
It's definitely going to be a good game for sure. You can go ahead, Brian.
Oh, go ahead. You're saying something. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm excited to see Tampa Bay's secondary against those receivers. Like, same with Green Bay. Like, they got to play Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes back to back. That's just not fun. Number 2, they got Christian Watson and Scott Moore, and Tampa Bay secondary. The whole thing about them is they're physical, so they gon' welcome those kids to the NFL. I'm gonna be here for it. I'm gonna be excited to watch.
Yeah, this could be the last time that Brady gets to face against the young gun, man, unless they meet in the Super Bowl or something. So. Brady's a competitor. He's not ready to give over that title of top quarterback in the league yet. So I think he plays with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder when he plays against Mahomes.
Yeah, I think
Brady will play with a chip on his shoulder this whole season.
he's going to. Yeah, this is his coming out of retirement season. All 41 days of it. But yeah, I think you look at Tom Brady, he has to look at week 3, week 4, back to back and be like, challenge accepted. Like, I'm gonna show these guys I'm still daddy. I'm still the boss. I'm still the MVP. I may not be the MVP, but I am the GOAT. And it could easily be the last 2 times he ever plays Rodgers or Mahomes. I'm tired of guessing when Brady's going to retire, so I don't ever want to talk about that on any podcast, if it's going to be this year, next year, whenever. I'll just lose that bet all the time. But outside of that, Buffalo, what did I say? Yeah, Buffalo, Baltimore. That was yours, Ryan. You want to take that?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's gonna be one of the big AFC matchups this year. I mean, they're two top contenders. Buffalo, I mean, they're probably my pick in the AFC right now, and Baltimore, they just made all their additions this offseason. Like, their roster's looking very good, as much as I hate to say it. But then you got Lamar coming back, so you've got him versus Allen. That's going to be one of the new top-tier quarterback matchups for years to come now, especially with them both being in the AFC. So I think that's one of those QB, I guess you could call it a QB rivalry that we'll be looking forward to. So that's just going to be my CTV, those two going at each other.
We just talk about how many how many new Peyton versus Brady's they're supposed to be for the AFC. A couple years ago, it was going to be Mahomes versus Jackson. Then it was Mahomes versus Allen. And
you remember when they tried Ben versus Brady?
That was a thing.
That was a thing.
Ben was winning Super Bowls. It's the only reason why that was a thing. But
and that was always a critical game in the season.
Like, you got to remember, during that stretch, there were only like 4 quarterbacks to make a Super Bowl from out of the AFC for like 20 years almost. Yeah. And it was Brady, Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, and Peyton Manning. And that was it. And then Mahomes broke that streak. So you got it, like, Big Ben versus those two was a thing.
Yeah, and I swear that it felt like they scheduled that game almost every year, huh?
Yeah, they always had it as like a week 1 special, and excluding 1 year, it was always Brady that won. But yeah,
week 6.
I count 2 years. Jesse caught that touchdown.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2 years. I'm sorry, 2 years. You're right. I'm sorry, my bad.
We're going to week 5 though.
Yeah, we're at week 5 now. Week 5 it is Cincinnati at Baltimore. We also have Las Vegas at KC, Philly at Arizona, Dallas at Los Angeles Rams. Cincinnati, Baltimore, NFC matchup. I think it's on here twice it literally won 2 weeks. Because it really is going to be probably the most important games in that division. I'll let the people who are from that division speak on that rivalry. But to me, I think Steelers are 4th. I'm sorry, Ryan. But Cleveland could easily be in that mix. Of the top dog. I mean, if Deshaun Watson's there and is playing, then I have no idea what's going to happen in that division. But I mean, there's a reason why it makes the list twice.
Yeah, I mean, out of the AFC, everybody's assuming that the Bills take the East. And then in the West, it's a toss-up, but between like all 4 teams, really. But then in the South, you got 2 clear-cut teams that are number 1 and 2, and that's Tennessee and Indianapolis. But I don't think anybody's really rushing to see those games that aren't in that division. So, I think in terms of like the top 2 teams in the division duking it out, Baltimore and Cincinnati are probably the best ones in the league, really, especially in the AFC. And again, Sunday Night Football, you got, again, another one of those Brady versus Manning reruns with Burrow and Lamar. So you got 2 young quarterbacks duking it out. They both had great off seasons. That's going to be one that, again, two games that everybody should have eyes on.
Yeah, you even said we can talk about it week 17, but that's probably going to get flexed. So that's probably going to be 2 primetime games. That's how good the matchup is. Nick, you have Vegas at KC. KC's kind of had their number the last 2 years. I think it was like 3 years ago when last time Carr beat Patrick Mahomes, but it's a whole different ball game now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. The reason why I have this, I think this is a very important game for Kansas City. Like they always get to a slow start, and this would be the game they would need to, get their act together. And I'm not, as you guys know, I'm not a fan of what Las Vegas did that much, but this is an important game for them if they want to, get an edge on if they want to try and compete for the division winner, which, to be honest, I don't see happening. But that's the main reason why I put that on there. I feel like it's more important long term. And I did debate Bengals versus Baltimore as well for this week, but I just feel like Vegas versus Kansas City is like more important long term than Cincinnati versus Baltimore. That's just my opinion.
Valid.
Yeah,
Valid.
My thing is Vegas is not a get right game this season, bro. Like I do think that roster is legit. They got talent. They act like I think their wide receiver. This is gonna be the first time they're playing against Kansas City in a few years that they have the better wide receiver core and better pass catchers than Kansas City does. And it's really gonna come down to Las Vegas' secondary. And if they shore it up, their talent equals Kansas City's talent. It's just Kansas City has the X factor at quarterback.
Yeah, that's a big teller and the big difference maker. But if you have Derek Carr with Devontae Adams, I mean, it's the gap is shrunk a lot. And I gotta say, Darren Waller this year compared to Travis Kelce this year, give me Darren Waller. I mean, years prior, career-wise,
I don't know about that.
Kelce is getting old. The man is in what? He's 32.
34, I think,
34,
but either
33. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm still saying he's damn good, but Darren Waller is the best pass catching tight end right now in the league.
I think
it's still Kelce.
I think it's still Kelce.
I think it's still Kelce, but Darren Waller is definitely in that conversation. But it's definitely not Kelce one, everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, I think the gap, I think it's other people in that same tier as Kelce. I think Kelce, Kittle, Waller, Andrews, and Pitts. Honestly, I'll throw Pitts in there already. Like,
I agree with that.
5. But
it was amazing.
Like, I do think Kelce is the best of the 5, but projection from going into this season, if you think he's going to take a step back, and if you think Waller's going to continue to be as productive as he can be, even with Adams in the fold, then
I think Adams only helps him because now he's not the clear-cut number one target on the offense. So I think he's gonna get maybe less touches, but they're gonna be a lot better looks from the defense. But
he's not gonna have 22 targets like they did week 1.
I mean, let's be real. Let's be real though. All right, are we not going Devontae Adams in terms of all weapons? You got Devontae Adams 1. I'll give you guys that. Then you probably go Kelce. Then it's Darren Waller. Then Hunter Renfrow. It's gotta be Hunter Renfrow. Like,
I agree with that.
It's gotta be. Like, it's not MVS. Like, it's not Juju. It's Hunter Renfrow. He's the best slot receiver in the game right now. He's third Renfrow for a reason, baby. Like, pure slot. Let me pure slot, as in short and white. But
oh god.
Kidding.
Makes sense to me.
Not really. Yeah. All right. What else do we got?
I don't know what to say about that.
I see Philly and Arizona in there. Dom, I'm a little disappointed. Without DeAndre Hopkins, I don't want to watch Arizona at all. I want to watch Philly.
I, to an extent, but I think it's going to be an interesting gauge to see how Kyler Murray has adjusted to all his offseason issues. And I think it's going to be a good gauge for Philly to see if they've taken those steps necessary to go further in the playoffs than they did this past season.
I agree. All right, week 6, you got Buffalo, KC being the dominant one. It's 3 out of 2. Then you got Denver at LAC, and then you got Cincinnati at New Orleans. That's a good matchup. You kind of have a bunch of LSU boys on that team, so they're going back home. I'm stoked to see that one. But Buffalo at KC, that is the true modern era Brady, or Brady Manning. Sorry.
Yep.
I think it's bigger. I think it's just I just think it's an artist just doing his magic. It's like a Bob Ross painting. You just watch him do it and you just be astounded by it. It's less, you know what I'm saying? It's like last year when I saw Chiefs versus Bills, it was a masterpiece. I that's why I have it here. I want to see the masterpiece done again and again and again. I just can't wait for this. This might be my favorite game of the year.
When that game ended, I felt like that was the greatest game I had ever seen.
Yes.
I mean, and I love defense, but nothing's more exciting than a barn burner that comes down to the last drive, to force the OT, to the end of this. Like everything was just back to back to back to back to back to back, and I mean, it kind of seemed like Josh Allen had slided. You know, when you're heading into OT, it seemed like Josh Allen was getting the better of him, and then nope. But that one's got to be possibly game of the year again.
For sure. If it's not Buffalo at Rams week 1, it's gonna be Buffalo at Kansas City. I'm kind of like this is the week. It always happens once where an NFC East like divisional game gets put into prime time, and it's Dallas at Philadelphia on Sunday Night Football over a game that it should be the prime time game that week, and that's Buffalo at Kansas City. To me, that's easy money. That would have been easy marketing to have Buffalo and Kansas City at Sunday Night Football. But, Jerry Jones got to get his. At least it's not the Giants, I'll tell you.
Devil in blue, I swear. We also had Denver at LAC on that one. Dominic, again, not mad at it. That's, again, one of those telling AFC West matchups where we don't know what's going to happen. Really don't know what's going to happen in this division. We can all kind of think and assume and pretend like we do, but how do you see that one panning out? Because
I mean, right now I got to kind of give the edge to the Chargers. As much as I like both teams, I think there's a question on the receiver front for Denver, and I think the Chargers will be on their game at that point.
I think that's another litmus test game. That's going to be those, again, I've been on record as saying I want Denver to show me, because I think I'm very pro all the other teams in that division. I've seen it from the Chargers. I've seen it from Justin Herbert. I've seen it from the Raiders. They made the playoffs last year. Obviously, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Denver is the one that's like the new player. So, and this is their first chance in prime time against one of those teams to be like, hey, we in this division too. You know what I mean? So.
All right, moving on to week 7. KC at San Francisco. Another rematch from years back in terms of Super Bowls. We got New Orleans at Arizona, and we've got Pitt at Miami. Ryan, you think San Francisco has what it takes to get it done against KC, or are you just excited for the matchup between Trey Lance and Patrick Mahomes?
I like the quarterback matchup. What if they have what it takes remains to be seen. I mean, we don't know what Trey is going to be. We can project all we want. I love Trey Lance coming out, but we haven't seen him fully put it together yet. If he reaches his potential, what we think it is, then absolutely, I think they can hang with Kansas City. They got they got a defense on their side. He's got some playmakers. Why not? I think they can compete for the NFC West if Trey Lance is where he's supposed to be. But it remains, again, it's a question. So, I mean, I guess we'll see when that time comes what that matchup's really going to be.
Yeah, it's definitely a massive projection. I'm looking forward to it. I don't care who's running the ball. They're gonna have a good running offense. They're gonna have a good defense. And Trey Lance, I mean, he can run the ball too. So it adds that wrinkle. And that wrinkle is going to need to be accentuated when you play KC because you're going to have to pull out all the stops because Andy Reid will. Nick, you got New Orleans at Arizona. What intrigues you about that one?
Well, I believe that is the game that DeAndre Hopkins will be returning, if I remember correctly. I think his suspension is 6 games.
Yeah.
But what I am interested to see is how Arizona's offense adapts with Hopkins back in, and to see how Arizona does after that. Because after, I believe it is week 7, 8, they go from up here and then they go down because that's Cliff Kingsbury. And I kind of want to see how New Orleans does at this spot. And I like New Orleans, not as much as I would if Sean Payton was the coach. I'm not a big fan of Dennis Allen. Maybe it's because of back in the time when Dennis Allen was the Raiders coach. I wasn't a fan of him, but I do want to see how Dennis Allen run team does at this spot as well. And Jameis, this is his last year. I think this is his last chance. If he doesn't impress against Arizona, who going to New Orleans defense, the offensive line, we mentioned this, their O-line is not that good. And I wonder how New Orleans' defense is going to operate against Arizona. And it's going to be a storytelling of how these two teams will be after this game. It will be very telling to what happens in the future. So I'm hyped for it. Chiefs versus San Francisco was a close number 2 to me. I just felt this game was more important long term.
I got you. Dominic, you had Pitt at Miami. Is that because of you just being a Miami fan and Ryan being a Pitt fan, or is it the return of Brian Flores?
For me,
that's I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bother you guys. That I totally forgot about that. Now I realize why you chose that game.
Yeah, for me, it's the return of Flores. I mean, with everything that went on this offseason, and now he's on the defensive side of the ball with Pittsburgh and gets to have TJ Watt and company going after that offense. I think it's going to be an interesting, under-the-radar kind of a good game to watch.
And, I mean, both teams could be fighting for, like, one of those last wild card spots, too. That could have some playoff implication there.
Yeah, I was going to throw that out there for about Nick's matchup as well. New Orleans and Arizona could both be – that could be a game, like I said, Baltimore. That game, Baltimore-New England, is going to be a AFC playoff, like, important matchup. That's going to be an important matchup for the NFC wildcard race, New Orleans and Arizona, and also so is Pittsburgh and Miami.
Week 8, we got Green Bay at Buffalo, being tied with Baltimore at Tampa Bay. And I actually did take Green Bay at Buffalo just because I really want to see the matchup between Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers. But I also am so intrigued by Lamar Jackson and Tom Brady. They're like the polar opposite quarterbacks. And has Brady, they've played, right? They played back when... Yeah, they played. This isn't going to be the first time, but this is going to be the first time in Tampa, or with Tampa, that they're going to be playing. That one's going to be a good one. But I feel like Green Bay, Buffalo, Green Bay at Buffalo, I don't know. Buffalo could kick their ass and it not even be a game. Green Bay could come in trying to prove some stuff. Same thing with what we talked about with Tom. Aaron Rodgers, hates to lose. I'm sure he doesn't want to lose to the guy who's kind of taking his spot in the NFL. And then we got San Francisco at at the Rams, and I love that. I love that one too. That's always a good game every year. San Francisco, they played 3 times last year. Rams finally got it when it mattered, and it came down to the wire. I mean, they freaking barely squeaked that one out. So that one's going to be a good one. What do you guys think, Ryan? What's your take on Baltimore, Tampa Bay? I'm assuming you're going to be rooting for the Bucs in that one?
Yeah, I will. Even though it's still a little hard for me to root for Brady, to be honest. He ripped my heart out a few times with the Pats. But, I mean, I like the matchup, just the Bucs offense in general with that new look Ravens defense. Like, I think that's going to be a hell of a matchup. I mean, obviously, the Ravens, like, the pieces they added are still remain to be seen how they'll pan out. But on paper, their defense looks incredible. And, I mean, Tampa, you've got Tom Brady, and he's still got Godwin and probably Gronk and Fournette and all those guys. So I I think that's going to be a very close game.
Don't leave out Mike Evans like that.
Well, Mike Evans too, yes.
Come on now.
But my thing with Baltimore and Tampa Bay and why I picked them is I just can't wait to see Julio Jones tear Tampa Bay up one more time.
You think that's gonna happen?
Oh man, I'll grant it. I don't know
You're
where.
calling Julio to Baltimore.
Yep. So
And
Julio
you're
got to
calling-
sign somewhere.
And you're going to
Listen,
say he's going to dominate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A broke down,
Chaz,
one-legged
don't
Julio.
clinch it.
after
Don't
I
do
just
it. I
got
learned my
done
lesson.
saying that I want to see him succeed. You're going to say that he's going to smack my Bucks one more
No.
time?
Now that you mentioned
Disrespect.
it, though, you know it will make this matchup even more juicy if the AB to Baltimore thing happens.
Oh no.
Let him play
no.
against Tampa.
There's no way.
I
No way.
never wanna
Ozzie Newsome
I never
off
wanna
his
see him.
couch would never let that happen. Wouldn't let it happen. It's not gonna. And if it does, I can't wait to see Antoine Winfield
That's-
Jr. just come across the middle and just take that.
I mean, Ozzie Newsome, the Ravens love the Alabama boys. They didn't get a chance at Julio when he came out. I'm just saying.
I like it. I actually do like it. I mean, a possession receiver, wide catch radius. It's kind of what the man needs. I do like it.
They still need a guy.
They definitely do. They got rid of one
or two, or three,
Or three.
Something.
I mean, again,
So-
Devin Duvernay, James Prochet, like no disrespect. We liked
No.
him coming out. We like him now.
But they need somebody that can like scare a defense.
Yeah.
They need a leader in the receiver group.
I agree. They need somebody to take some pressure off of Lamar. What I'm most looking forward to seeing is Devin White and Levante David trying to figure out Lamar Jackson and having those two speedster linebackers and our legit safety in Antoine Winfield Jr. That's gonna be a good matchup. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Like, is Lamar Jackson gonna piece us up like Mike Vick did back in the day? Or are we going to be able to contain Mike Vick like we did when we had a defensive line? That's going to be the kind of the teller for me. Moving into week 9, you've got Rams at Tampa across the board, but you got Green Bay at Detroit. Nicholas, what are you thinking? We all know who's going to win that game. Come on now.
Yeah, but it's always one time these two teams face each other that something big happens. Remember the Hail Mary throw with Rodgers and everything? There's just one moment that happens all the time in Detroit Packers games that I just can't ignore. And I've always been hyped to see it. Maybe it's just me and the hype of just wanting to see something crazy happen in these games like always, but I'm excited. I'm just very excited to see these two teams face each other and something crazy to happen. You know?
And also to bring up last week, me and Nick were both the highest on Detroit, so this could be another one that's like we got this nice young core, and we want to see how we match up against the big dog of the division for time. So I see your vision, Nick. I'm with you.
And okay, thank you, Chaz.
I would love to see Detroit like actually do something this year. Every year, I'm praying for one team in the NFC North to step up. One team, just one team. Minnesota, come on, Kirk Cousins.
I'm not a fan of Minnesota.
And I'm a Campbell fan, man. After seeing him after seeing him in Mobile, I think he might have became my second favorite coach in the league.
Yeah,
it's hard not to root for him.
Dude, when he cried like on the podium, I was like, gotta love this man. Gotta respect this man. Like, he cares that much.
Hey, even when they were going through that season last season, they were fighting. They had a couple games where they got lit up, but they fought every game.
Detroit should have won like 5 games last year, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They should have beat the Steelers when they tied.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were one of them.
They should have beaten Baltimore when Justin Tucker kicked that long kick, but the Bobby Lane curse followed them, I guess, and they lost those games.
Baltimore, nice, bro. I don't know about Detroit is nice. I like Detroit.
If it's all up to Jared Goff. That's
Yeah.
everything. Can Jared
They-
Goff not mess it up? Do enough. You know?
They're the team that's I think they're following the Buffalo Bills like we haven't had a quarterback we traded off Stafford. We don't have a quarterback. Let's get the infrastructure and let's get the foundation of the team right. And I think they've done a hell of a job so far, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
And
Sorry.
I would say I think their only issue is I think their foundation is good enough to where they might win too many games next year and not be in contention for Stroud or Young and whoever their QB1 is.
Yeah, what I was gonna say, they're gonna be set up though once they get to dump that Jared Goff contract. Then they have the team, they have the roster. Then they just
they have the
need
salary
the quarterback. Yeah, they will.
Yep.
Because they're not gonna be paying almost anybody on their entire roster because it's super young roster.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody they're paying right now, they're not gonna have to pay in a year or two. But all right, what else we have? We have Rams at Tampa Bay. If there is a revenge game for the Bucks, it is this one. They kicked our ass twice last year. Once in the playoffs, once at both times once. Were the Rams a higher seed last year? I think we were the higher seed. I think they beat us twice.
The Rams were the 4 seed.
Yeah, they beat us twice at home last year.
Yep.
That hurts. I mean, and again, that was their revenge on us from the year before, so I kind of get it. But man, there's not a game that I want to see us win because I have way too many Rams fans. That's the game that's on my calendar as the nail biter, the one that I want the most. I don't care about New Orleans; they could sweep us for all I care. We'll still win the division. I want that LA Rams game.
I mean, and I think Brady's going to rip them to shreds this game. I really believe it. I mean, playing against a pissed off Tom Brady is a very scary sight for any team. And I think he comes out and maybe puts up his best numbers of the season against the Rams.
I'm okay with that. I don't know if that's going to happen against that Rams defense because they lost Darius Williams. It was a solid piece. But sorry, I have some gnarly hot rod going by right now. I mean, when you add Bobby Wagner, there's no way that team isn't going to be legit. But again, Jalen Ramsey's getting beat. He's getting burnt, and the Bucks have proved. Mike Evans has proved multiple times that he can outduel Jalen Ramsey. That's going to be a hell of a matchup. If we're moving down the board, trying to stay within a timely manner, we now are at week 10. We've got Indy, Vegas. We've got Chargers playing the Niners at home, or the Niners are at home. Then we have Green Bay hosting Dallas. So, Dom, what you got about the Chargers in San Francisco? Isn't that like an 80s? That was an 1980s Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Nah,
No?
maybe.
I think so. 70s matchup. I'm trying to think. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
I think I'm not talking out of my ass, but you never know. But what's so intriguing for you?
It's just going to be, for me, I mean, we're going to know what the Chargers are by then, and if hopefully Herbert pieces it together, but it's going to be interesting to see how the Niners piece everything together. Are they rolling with Trey Lance by that point? Or has Garoppolo come back?
Jack, it's 1995.
Was it 95?
That Super Bowl hit.
Damn.
Yeah, it was 95.
Damn, I was way off.
That was when San Francisco beat the Chargers 49-26. 1995.
Thank you for that, buddy. I appreciate it. That's some young Jamie-like skills right there. I can appreciate that. So I knew it was, but yeah, I was way off on the time frame. But yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Ryan, you got Dallas at Green Bay. I do like seeing Dallas lose. So
I mean, I like it. It's one of those classic, NFC matchups. They're two historically great teams. As much as I hate Dallas, and I think it's gonna be a big game for Dallas because they've got the Eagles nipping right at their heels. I think the Eagles have passed them up in that division, at least this offseason. We're talking about, early favorites in the division. So I think it's going to be a game where Dallas is going to have to prove that they can hang with the NFC, and it could be a game where they are trying to make a push just to make the playoffs, because I can't see two teams from that division making it. So they're going to be in a battle for any type of playoff spot this year.
Yeah, Dallas. I think by week 10, Dallas is going to be desperate for wins.
Yeah.
Stressing on them. So you never know what team you're going to get.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. That might also be a time where McCarthy. There might be rumblings at that time where McCarthy might be gone. Who knows?
Oh yeah, that's a homecoming for McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. See that? That's gonna be a good one. I hope that's the game McCarthy gets fired.
That would be such poetic.
It's a blowout loss. Aaron Rodgers is like, look, this is all he does. He just does these 3 routes. Just cover these areas, he'd be just fine. I had Indy, Vegas. They played, I think, 2 times in the last 3 years, 2 times in the last 2 years, something like that. Each a win apiece. Made some trades with each other. They're going to be a couple teams facing their former team, or a couple players facing their former teams. So that'll be interesting. I don't know. Something about that game just says that's gonna have some impact in the playoff picture.
Yeah,
both of those teams are gonna be in the hunt at the very least, if not winning their division. I think Colts are definitely gonna win their division. You never know.
I don't know. Tennessee. I'm not ruling them completely out of it yet.
No. I don't hate on Ryan Tannehill like everybody else does.
Yep.
He had a bad game. So Patrick Mahomes had a bad half. It is what it is.
That's true.
Sorry, damn, Nate wasn't here for that. Damn it, we need Nate or Ashton. All right. Week 11, we've got Cincinnati playing Pittsburgh. I took that one. So did Ryan. We have KC playing the Chargers. Dom and Chaz took those. And then Nicholas has got Tennessee. Speaking of Tennessee at Green Bay. I liked all of those matchups. Those all crossed my mind. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh it's just a good one. It's a good matchup. It's going to be a teller. This is what's going to separate. I don't know if it separates because it's not going to be It may not be Pittsburgh's game, division to win, but they could definitely be playing spoiler. And I could be completely wrong because they were winning with Duck Hodges, for Christ's sakes, but that was before Baltimore was Baltimore, and that was before Cincinnati was Cincinnati. So, that division kind of was trash at that point, slightly. It wasn't what it is now in terms of a gauntlet, murderer's row that it is today. So that's going to be a good one. But, Ryan, do you think your team could be playing spoiler?
Man, I just can't. I can't count us out of the division, man. I kind of alluded to this a little bit last week. We were 1 game away last year. We split. If we split with Cincinnati, we win the division. We swept both other teams with a worse offensive line than we're going to have this year. And probably, as much as I love Ben, our quarterback situation should be at least a slight upgrade this year, I would hope. And by that point, my boy Kenny Smallhands, unless Mitch unless Mitch is tearing it up, Kenny's probably in by then. So hopefully he's providing something, and that could be a preview of very many quarterback battles to come with him and Burrow. So that could be a lot of fun to watch. It could be another big playoff picture game. I really think so.
I agree. I'm not counting Pittsburgh out of the division yet. I think the AFC North is clearly the second best division, top to bottom. Obviously the AFC West with all their flashy additions, 1 through 4, all their rosters are close to each other in talent. But if there's a division clearly in second place, I think it's the AFC North, and any of these teams could challenge for the division at any time. Like Ryan said, half a game out. Like they tied Detroit. If they beat Detroit, Cincinnati still wins that division, but they have the same record. Like it's not like Cincinnati ran away with that division last year. It's just Pittsburgh is they're always a tough out. Tomlin is Tomlin, and then again they did upgrade at offensive line and at quarterback. I do wish they would have drafted an offensive lineman, but that's a whole conversation I think I've already spouted on before. But no, Pittsburgh is going to be in it, and it's going to be another one of those games that could determine wild card seeding in the AFC pretty easily.
And I mean, I don't think there's going to be any blowout games in the AFC North this year like we saw a couple of times last year. I think it's going to be one of those divisions that's down to the last 2 weeks of the season, no matter who's in first, second, third, or fourth. Like, it's not going to be decided. There's not going to be any of these teams sitting starters last week of the season this year.
I literally could see every one of those divisional games being within one score.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's how close and how stacked that division is. Nicholas, you think Tennessee could run all over Green Bay? Green Bay's got some linebackers now with Quay Walker and whoever they're
Devontae Campbell.
Thank you, Devontae Campbell. They can both go east and west. They can fly. You know, what do you think about them matching up against the run heavy Tennessee Titans?
Well, I'm going back to Green Bay. I'm not really a big fan of the Quay Walker pick. I'm just not high on him. But going to this game, I think it's going to be very telling with the Tennessee Titans at this point. And let's just say they struggle, which I don't see happening. I think they'll be A-okay. This could be where they could potentially put in Willis to see how he does. But I'm very hyped to see how Green Bay's run defense does with Derrick Henry, because in order for you really to shut down the Titans, you've got to shut down Derrick Henry. And except for Hassan Haskins, who they drafted, the Titans don't really have anything behind them. They really don't. And if Green Bay can shut him down, and if they could do a solid job with shutting down Burks and shutting down the receivers, it's going to be very telling for both teams with this game, is what I'm saying. And it's mainly for Tennessee. And if Tennessee struggles up to this point, let's say they lose to the Packers, then this division could be Indianapolis's. But it's going to be I'm interested in this game because I think it's more of a sign of what could come for Tennessee more than what could come to Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay's run defense, or lack thereof, has been their Achilles heel for years.
Yes.
5, almost 10 years now? Like, it literally, at least 5. Because when San Francisco beat them, that was the most embarrassing playoff loss I've ever seen.
Oh my God, no question.
I mean, to just have just run it down someone's throat like that, like, I mean, you see things like that on bad websites, like dirty websites. Like that's how awful of a loss that was. Oh, but and I don't think Quay Walker necessarily fixes that. Like I
think Quay Walker was overdrafted. I didn't see Quay Walker.
I agree that he was overdrafted, and I don't think he is the piece that stops. I'm not mad at the pick, but I do think he was drafted a little too high. I'm mad at why they're. I don't know how you take Nakobe Dean over him, but apparently everybody else was low on Nakobe Dean. I'll leave it at that.
Nakobe fell because of the medicals.
Yeah, medicals why he fell.
But I like that Nick brought up Willis though, because I mean, how short of a leash do we think Tannehill has this year? Like, I mean,
how long's his contract?
I've made no question about it. Like, I'm very low on Tannehill, but a lot of people like Tannehill as well. So if Tennessee struggles that first half, do we think we see Willis?
I don't think Willis plays this year, barring injury to Tannehill. I don't see that being a thing unless he's like debilitatingly bad and losing them games. Like, I think Tannehill's leash is like longer than anybody would think. Malik was a 3rd-round pick. They didn't draft him like to have him waiting in the wings.
Yeah, if he was a 1st-round pick, then maybe. Right, Tannehill's gonna really have to stink it up. And Ryan,
this this is my question with his leash. How long is Tannehill's contract? If I remember correctly, I think he has 2 years left. But depending how long his contract is in my opinion, how long Willis's leash is going to be, excluding that last year.
Yeah, but even then, Malik was a 3rd-round pick. It's not like they thought like.
Which I have no idea why he fell to the 3rd round, and it shocked me.
The fact that they drafted him means that there's there's a little inclination that they may not be 100% sold on.
Yeah.
Like there's at least a slight, well, maybe we'll see. But they're still going to play him. He's still on contract for this year. He's still their best option. He's still taking them to the playoffs. And we could talk about all these other teams where their quarterback didn't have the best playoff showing. You know, Aaron Rodgers got beat in the playoffs. So teams can get beaten. Taking your team to the playoffs is enough to at least hold your hat on. But yeah, I don't know if you heard, Ryan Tannehill apparently had to go to therapy over that loss. Like they talked about it on Pat McAfee today. Like he literally was that distraught about it, like that upset. Like he's on a hell-bent mission to wrong his, to right his wrongs. And I mean, I'm not like a massive Ryan Tannehill fan, but I don't hate him. I like him better than I like Mitchell Trubisky. No offense, but and I think Mitchell Trubisky can take him. He could take him. He could take him to the play. He could probably take Pittsburgh to the playoffs because of that roster, and the winning mentality that the Steelers have no matter what. But all right, week 12. Moving on to week 12. Yes, Tampa Bay at Cleveland. You got the Giants at Dallas. You've got the Bengals at Tennessee. And then you've got Rams at KC. Man, that repeat of that game was from a Monday night, 2-3 years ago? That was a hell of a game. The KC Rams, that blowout barn burner, same thing like what we've seen with Buffalo, KC. I could easily see that being one of the games of the year, top 5 games of the year. You're not going to get a whole lot of defense from it. I mean, you're not supposed to, even though they do have some defense. That both teams have solid pieces on both sides of the ball. I like Tampa Bay at Cleveland. I think that that's going to be kind of a teller. I hope Deshaun Watson's there. I want to see, basically Tom Brady just check off like every top quarterback on the list. Like this next year of all right, beat him, better than him. That's what I want to see, and I want Deshaun Watson added to that list. But who knows? It's going to be a good game. Bucks are one of the best run defenses of the last 10 years, last decade, and Cleveland's had a stellar run offense of the last couple of years. So I think it's immovable object, meets a unstoppable force. But what do you guys think? Cincinnati at Tennessee, Dominic? I do like it. Again, I feel like we're talking a little bit too much about Tennessee right now, but we can't get enough about Cincinnati.
I think it's going to be interesting for Tennessee to kind of gauge themselves. You get a hopefully healthy Derrick Henry at that point. I think that was one of the Achilles heels that Tennessee had late in the season last year, and see how they react to Cincinnati and how Cincinnati can contain him.
Don't say their best player being hurt was an Achilles heel. I'm shocked.
All right, week 13, we got KC at Cincy across the board. Is that the first consensus? Yeah, I think it is.
I believe it is.
I mean, it's a playoff rematch, AFC Championship rematch, right?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, AFC Championship rematch. I know my stuff sometimes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has to right the wrong, right? I don't know if it happens, but he's sure as hell trying. That's the game he circled on his entire calendar right there. For sure. No questions asked, right?
I think there's no debate that's absolutely the game that he circled on the schedule. He wants revenge.
Is it not going to happen, Chaz?
I mean, I ain't worried about it. Again, like Cincinnati, I've said they have a murderer's row starting from like week 11 to week 18. And just the only saving grace is that Kansas City and Buffalo are both at home. And again, AFC Championship rematch, they're not going to beat Mahomes. Like, it's going to be hard to beat Mahomes and Andy Reid 3 times in a row. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, if they lose, the season's over. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, it'll be a good game. I'd be shocked if Cincinnati won it again. But it'll be one where Nate and I are in each other's DMs Sunday night. So we'll see what happens.
I'm sure it's gonna be a good one, but I don't know. Yeah, you guys had a better chance of losing to them last year than you do this year, but emotions definitely play a factor. And there's gonna be a game where Patty puts up 500 yards of offense, like that's gonna be the game. But against that defense, I don't know.
Oh.
All right, week 14. We got Vegas at LA Rams. Then we've got Baltimore at Pitt for Nicholas. And then we've got KC at Denver for Dominic. I'll just say it and then let this be. This is the true battle for LA because Vegas has way more Raiders fans, or LA has way more Raiders fans than the Rams do. No questions asked. I bet anybody $1 million right now that stadium's going to be solid black. There will be more black than there will be blue and yellow. Like, that is guaranteed. It happens for the Niners games. It definitely is going to happen for the Raiders games. Like, that's the game that all Raiders fans are buying a ticket to because it's a little bit shorter of a drive than it is to Vegas. And I don't know if you know, but those crazy bastards commute. They go to every game. I know thousands. I know I have like fan pages that like I used to subscribe to for like the Raiders, especially like when we first starting off with Blitz, and like the caravans of Raiders fans, it's crazy. Like they roll like 100, 200 cars deep in these damn caravans. Like it's nuts. There will be a black hole in LA. I guarantee it.
I agree.
All right, who else? All right, Dom, you had Casey at Denver. How do you think that's going to go? We got this Russell Wilson matchup. Russell Wilson versus Patrick Mahomes.
I think it's going to be – it has the potential to be a good offensive matchup. Is it going to be a catch game for KC coming off that battle was the week before, though, you know? They go KC at Cincinnati and then have a letdown against a divisional foe.
It's gonna be a good one. And then the other divisional matchup that's intriguing in that week is Baltimore at Pittsburgh. Nick, that was your pick. Again, like we've talked about, this could definitely have playoff contentions. All 4 of those teams could be in the playoff hunt. Whether it's for the division title or whether it's for a wild card spot, there's definitely going to be implications riding on that game.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Basically, no, you're good. You're good. A big reason why I chose that is it's one of the biggest rivalries in the entire division. It's important, but I think whoever wins or loses this game is in danger of losing their playoff spot in the wild card because I think this division's Cincinnati's, and I don't know what's going to go on with the Watson stuff. I know the investigation's done, but we don't know how many games or if he's going to get suspended. But this game is going to be make or break for both teams at this spot. If they lose their playoffs are in danger. Yes, there's 4 more weeks. I'm sorry, 3. I think is it 4 more?
Yeah,
weeks?
it'll be 4 more weeks after that.
Yeah, God, week 18 still confuses me sometimes, but there's still. This is a very important game for both teams. Is what I'm saying.
Pittsburgh can beat any of their division rivals at home.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big week for the AFC North division in the big picture too, because I mean you got Cleveland at Cincinnati that weekend too, so that there could be a lot of movement from top to bottom just from those 2 games.
That could be a 2-game swing from winner to loser.
Yeah.
You know? Week 15, we've got Rams at Green Bay. We've got Detroit and the Jets. Come on, man.
Listen. It's one of my favorite coaches versus one of my favorite teams. Okay, I can't leave that alone.
All right. Fair enough. Like, as long as you provide some context, it's all right. Well, I hate on you too much, but like I said, we can only leave so much room for talking about Jets here.
Hey, Chaz agreed with me on this one, pal. Chaz agreed with me.
We talked a lot about Detroit. Cincinnati at Tampa Bay for Dom. I can't believe me and Chaz didn't have that on there. I definitely put it in my notes as one of my most intriguing games, one I can't wait for. But neither of us did that. I guess Chaz, you did the same thing. You had Detroit at Jet. I'm surprised.
Told you, bro. I like Detroit, and this is again 2 teams that came out of this draft. Everybody loves both their moves that they made this offseason. Like I said, I like Detroit's foundation for a quarterback. If they can get one like next year, I think they got all the pieces around there. The Jets are a young team. We're going to see how all their like new pieces fit and gel. This is the Jets game. That's their most important game of the season that people are actually going to want to tune in to watch. But this is the they'll have their rookies will be almost a year in, so we'll know who the Jets are by this point, and it'll be nice to see these 2 like young teams, young rosters. I'm not gonna say like bad rosters or anything like that. It's 2 young teams that are in the middle of rebuilds, and we'll get to see. That'll be a progress game. It'll be again one of those like measuring stick games.
Yeah, I mean Robert Saleh and MCDC, Dan Campbell. I mean that's how do you not like those guys? but which one wins in a fist fight? Like that's the real question.
In a fist fight,
Saleh.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah,
Dan Campbell.
I don't know. I think
at least Saleh doesn't cry.
Saleh's intense, bro.
At least Saleh doesn't
cry. Hey, it's okay to cry, all right, bro? There's nothing wrong with a little cry.
Listen. Okay, let me be clear here. It is okay to cry. I didn't. No, listen, I just love the Jets. I love you, Dan Campbell. You were my second choice to be the coach, and yet they go with Adam Gase. Sorry, I had a moment there.
There's not many coaches in the league I think are hanging with Campbell in a fight though. He's crazy.
He is.
He is crazy.
That man went on stage talking about kneecaps and all that, and then he just drinks coffee. Like the man like injects caffeine into his like system every morning, bro. Like nah.
Then again,
I know
now
Robert Saleh didn't have anything to like celebrate or be excited about last year, but do you not remember him on the sidelines, like chest bumping and like going crazy, like head butting his players? Like,
hey, bro, Pittsburgh got that 1-2 combo, bro. They got Flores and Tomlin. They'll jump kids, bro. Remember when Flores was trying to fight Zach Taylor?
No, but going back to Saleh and Dan Campbell, I will admit one thing though with Saleh, different thing from Dan Campbell is he doesn't basically want to bite a kneecap off like Campbell did.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I won't throw that.
Campbell clears.
I got Saleh. I'm saying it. I got Saleh.
Saleh too for me.
But we also, again, we got actual games that actually matter with playoff implications to talk about. Dom, you had Cincinnati at Tampa Bay. Do you think Joe Burrow surpasses the GOAT? Takes that torch? Like, that's what I was claiming was going to happen last year in the Super Bowl, and it didn't. But
that's going to be a measuring stick for Burrow. And is that chip on Brady's shoulder going to include checking off beating Joe Burrow in a game, you know? Like, you got the greatest quarterback at the position and Brady and one who has potential to be, and Burrow.
Joey B has got a little bit of Brady to him. Like, he's got a little bit of Brady to him. And that's why I was rooting for him so much last year. The slight arrogance, like the swag, the confidence, like just straight so confident. Like you gotta love it. I think that's gonna be a hell of a matchup. But me and Ryan went with Rams at Green Bay, specifically because it's gonna have so much playoff implications, right?
Yeah.
One seed battle type.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rams are gonna be probably rolling by that time. They're either gonna be clearly the top team again, or they're gonna be in the middle of the pack. Like you don't know how this year's gonna go for them. A lot of change, a lot of stuff, maneuvering parts, and then also like they're the Super Bowl champs. Teams are gonna be gunning for them. Teams are gonna be playing. They have to play everyone's best, just like the Bucks did a year ago. Problem is, probably Bucks are gonna still have to play everybody's best because it's Brady. But what are you gonna do? So that one I'm excited for. I think the Rams take it in Green Bay.
And kind of like we talked about a little bit last week, like Green Bay, unless somebody surprises in that division, they're going to be right in the conversation for that top seed in the NFC. So they'll be playing for something as well.
And that could be the game that decides the top seed in the NFC. So
yeah.
I mean, I got what? Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Buffalo, and Green Bay Rams. So those are probably like the three toughest games that they got. Everything else it's not gonna be that. That's for sure. Moving on down for week 16, 17, 18. We've got 16. We've got Rams at Pitt. We've got Jaguars at Jets. We've got Eagles at Cowboys. We have Raiders at Pitt. Raiders at Steelers. And then we've got, again, we have Eagles and Dallas. So, two-way tie. And then we have Jacksonville at Jets. Nick's favorite teams.
No, I listen. I got a good reason. Listen, it's my number one team versus my number two team, and I love the Jets, and I have such respect for the Jaguars, and there's a family reason why I love the Jaguars. And every time this game pops up, no matter what year they are, no matter how bad they are, no matter how good they are, it's a must-watch for me. I can never miss this game, so that's why I have it. And maybe it might be a tank bowl later on, which I hope to God it's not, because I want my two teams to be good. But I can't take them out as being my favorite matchup for this week. I just can't do it.
Oh, I just saw that that's a Thursday night game too.
It's probably it's my late Thursday night game. Is it the last Thursday night game for the season?
It might be, honestly.
That's a great way to close out Thursday night games.
Week 17, might be wrong. All right, you also like I said, we have Raiders at Pitt. Man, Ryan again, simpatico in a lot of these. I mean, it's the matchup, historic matchup. In
50th anniversary.
It's the 50th.
50th of the Immaculate Reception.
yeah.
So I mean, that's going to be a big to do.
That's a historic game with definitely some type of playoff implications for at least one of those teams. I'm sure they're going to be fighting tooth and nail, at the very least fighting tooth and nail for a wild card spot. So I could see that being an important game and a game that, is probably going to be decided by defense in the run game. They're going to go, I bet you they go super old school on both sides. It's going to be a defensive matchup just to pay homage.
And the night game on Christmas Eve. I love that schedule for Christmas weekend this year.
Oh,
we always do big get-togethers with family, so it'll be nice to have football, especially a game like that.
Yeah,
that night.
That's good. I like that. Christmas football on Christmas Eve. That's beautiful.
I don't want to get off topic here, but I just looked it up. Jets Jaguars is not the last Thursday night game. Week 17, there's one against Dallas and Tennessee. So you were right.
All right, and then Philly at Dallas. That's got to be like a deciding factor, right, Dom, Chaz? I mean, those were you guys' two picks. Like that one, that's for the division maybe, or it gives the Eagles a chance to have a bye week, going into week 18.
Yeah, I mean, that whole division, actually, I was surprised had the weakest schedules when they came out. But yeah, those are easily the top two teams in the division, so they're sure going to be fighting for that playoff spot and that home playoff game. And I love what Philly did this offseason, so it's going to be good to see.
Yeah, that's exactly the same logic I had as well. I think these are the clearly best two teams in their division. Maybe Washington challenges, but I personally see it as Philadelphia and Dallas, and it's gonna be in Dallas. So Jerry World's gonna be rocking for it. And again, this could be the game that decides that division. So I'm with it.
Hard to not go with it. Week 17, we have Bills at Bengals. We have the New Orleans Saints at Philadelphia Eagles. But it is a runaway. Buffalo Bills at Cincy is the best game of the week as far as four of us are concerned. Nick, you had New Orleans at Philadelphia. What about that game kind of intrigues you?
Well, these two teams may be fighting for a wild card spot, and at this point, I think Cincy and Buffalo will clinch their divisions. And yes, you could say they could be fighting for the first seed, but this could be a game where if things are already clinched with the first seed, they could just rest their guys, prep themselves for playoffs. But for this could also have a draft pick potential because the Eagles have the Saints first round pick, and depending how the record goes, they will want to battle as hard as they can to keep that draft pick, lower than they think. And the Saints want to battle to ensure that, not only they get a playoff spot, but their draft pick that they will be losing isn't as bad as the Eagles. You get what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Basically, this draft pick,
One loss could be the difference of 10 spots in the draft.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. No, I get you on that. I like that. I didn't never. That's a rare occurrence where a game has draft capital implications. But the rest of us went Buffalo at Cincy. Mr. Quiet One, Dom, what's your take on that game between those two amazing young quarterbacks?
I honestly see it as a deciding game for the conference and the number one seed. And I don't think with the grinder that Cincy's going to have with the division or their division that they're going to have an opportunity to rest. So they're going to either be battling for that one seed or they're going to want to play spoiler to make sure Buffalo doesn't get it.
I think Cincinnati is not going to have a chance to rest their starters at all. I'm very high on the rest of the North. So I think they're going to have, if they win this game, then I think that might put some separation between them and Baltimore and make that not the winner take all game for week 18. But I think that definitely has, like you said, it has a chance to be for the number one seed. And I don't think either team will be in a spot where they can rest their starters 2 weeks out. But that's those two teams. Monday Night Football, potentially for the conference. I don't know. I don't see how you get better than that.
Sign me up. Matchup wise, the revamped Buffalo Bills defensive line versus the revamped Cincinnati offensive line. That's gonna be good. You've got the quarterbacks. You've got, the list goes on. You got tons of weapons on both sides of the ball. Is Jamar Chase going to outdo Stephon Diggs? How is this going to work? Who's going to be the running backs at that time for the Buffalo Bills? There's going to be a lot. But I do think when you look at it, man, and Cincinnati has such a tough route, if they beat Buffalo and then Baltimore in Week 18, they are rolling into the playoffs. But they also may be banged up. You can only play so many tough teams like that. Before you're physically and mentally spent. So I think a lot of the times you see teams, they'll split. They'll have two back-to-back super tough matchups and they'll get at least one of them. I think the Bills go into Cincy and go get that win, and then Cincy's head is on winning the division, not trying to win a conference. I don't think they're going to be in conference contention. There's too many tough matchups. There's a reason why they're littered throughout. Like I've got them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Six out of 18 weeks I have them. You know, a whole third of the schedule is Cincinnati barn burner type games. So there's no way they're going to come out on top on every one of these. I don't think they're fighting for it. I think Buffalo probably rides out like with it easily going into week 18 after they secure it this week in week 17. And then moving into week 18, we have Baltimore at Cincy. Consensus across the board. No questions asked. We have deemed that the most important game. Probably like Chaz said, going to get flexed to another primetime schedule, which would be 2 primetime games for Cincinnati for Cincinnati and Baltimore. And we're all kind of in agreement, right? Like Cincinnati should win this, but you never know.
Yeah, that's essentially all it is. And since like, there's always been, at least in my estimation, there's always been this kind of like triangle in the AFC North. Pittsburgh always beats Cincinnati. Cincinnati always gets the better of Baltimore. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Baltimore always gets the better of Pittsburgh. And then Cleveland's just Cleveland. So there's always been that kind of like thing historically. But Cincinnati and Baltimore kind of like, I think their record right now is like Baltimore is winning the series by like 1 game, I think. Because once Lamar took over and Cincinnati was at the down end of the Andy Dalton years, it kind of got bad. But Cincinnati got back on track. They swept them last year. And this year, the Ravens are coming back for revenge. It's just, will the Ravens be healthy coming into this game? And Cincinnati was extremely lucky with health last year. So they were one of the least injured teams in the league. So like you said, I've been saying, they've had this murderer's row. Like you said, they littered all over the place. They got Kansas City week 13. They got New England week 14. 15 is Tampa Bay. 16, I think it's Cleveland. Yeah, I think. I'm not looking at the schedule right now. And then week 17 is Buffalo. So they're running through all these teams. Oh, it's Tennessee in week 16. They're running through all these teams. They're gonna have to like do something. They might get hurt. They like if they stay healthy and they're fully healthy by this point, I'd be shocked. And who knows? Like Dominic said, it might be a one thing where they beat the Bills and then they let up against the Ravens. Who knows?
You guys got any other games that we didn't talk about? No, I seen San Francisco at Vegas. I thought that was a dick move by the NFL schedule makers because they could have put basically the Raiders back in the Bay Area and Raiders fans wouldn't have to caravan and travel all the way to Vegas. So I thought that one was kind of funny. And then Miami at San Francisco. So you got the coaching tree matchup. Yep. That's going to be a good one. That's week 13. And then San Francisco plays Vegas week 17. So I think those are going to be 2 games that we didn't mention. I also had Baltimore, Tampa Bay, LA versus LA, which again is not for the true LA, crown of the LA team because the Raiders will always have that. And then Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, which we've already talked about. So those were the other ones that I thought were intriguing. But all of next season is intriguing.
I will say Watson plays. If Watson plays, I think there's going to be several probably Cleveland games that we could throw into this too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that remains to be seen. That's the big question mark is if he plays.
I will say one thing about the schedule. I'm sorry. I'll say this and then we'll continue. One thing about these schedule releases is I'm glad there's no week 4 and like week 5 bye. I remember last year they did like a week 4, week 5 bye, which I hated. I think was too early. And the first week bye week is week 6, and I'm a lot more happier about that than week 4 because with the additional game with 18 games, having a bye week in week 4 is just completely unfair.
Yeah, it made no sense whatsoever. I'd hate to be a team getting a bye week 1 month into the season.
It's ridiculous.
Just when you get your feet underneath you, you get rolling, and then boop, over. But That wraps it up. Weeks 1 through 18. That was a doozy, but we did it. I can't wait. I think next week we'll start going through some playoff predictions and start talking about that. Run through each game. Maybe we'll do it separately. We'll do it together. We'll figure it out through Slack. But please, guys, stay tuned. We're going to keep the War Room podcast rolling for at least another 2 or 3 weeks. And we'll figure it out from there. Maybe we get back into some Blitz breakdowns, some other stuff, other podcasts that we got going. But stay tuned because we will definitely be back for much more. Gentlemen, let's go down. We'll go clockwise, starting with Ryan. Tell these people where they can find you.
You can find me at all social media at Lippert42.
Dom?
You can find me on Twitter at DomAmbrose10.
Chazzy boy?
Find me, sir. You can find me on Twitter at CCNFL Draft. Nick?
Well, of course, I'm on the number one social media there is, and there's no question about it. I am on LinkedIn. And if you want to also find me, I'm also on BLITZ, releasing a ton of articles trying to break the system on there.
He's doing a damn good job of it. Like I said earlier, we all took a break and relaxed, and this young man has kept it grinding. So we really appreciate it, Nick. You're killing it content-wise. There've been some great reads too, guys. Go check it out, blitzlytics.com. Find me at Jack Bourgeois on all social media, JackBooshwa. But realistically, just go check out blitzlytics.com. We'll probably get our big board up for the 2023 draft class here in the next month or so. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna get an early start on next year's draft. Appreciate it. Blitz out.